The cheerleading by the legacy-controlled media in 2001 to join this imperial adventure are now standing mouth ajar. Weren't these the people that were supposed to be stealing our freedoms? They ask themselves. Aren't we in Afghanistan fighting them there so we don't have to fight them here? How is it possible that the world's hyperpower, with an arsenal of death unmatched on the planet and wielding the soft power of things like LGBTQ plus parades, group twerking, and the new woke Disney, how on earth could the United States lose in Afghanistan to non-state actors and local militias like the Taliban? Well, again, to answer that, if we were being honest, again, is that it was never the objective for the United States to win the war or the peace in the first place. And if there was no objective to follow through on, it then follows that the world's superpower couldn't and didn't lose. What one has to understand is that the US military is not about winning these low-intensity conflicts. What it is about is two things: destabilization of regions and creating a sandbox for their military and its use. The US has not been about winning conflicts since 1945. While destabilization of the region bordered by Pakistan, India, Russia, and China was a key part of the overarching US strategy in Afghanistan, the US has a very clear history of almost non-stop military engagements going all the way back to its founding. And now, with 20 plus years of experience with clandestine asymmetrical warfare, the use of low-intensity proxy and brush wars are waged to keep the US military sharp and filled with veterans, especially in the leadership positions. From the outset, American leaders understood that trying to occupy and defeat a resistance movement when you are ethnically, culturally, linguistically, and religiously foreign and have no support from the local population, well, this is beyond an exercise in futility. The US military is an imperial policing force, and it used Afghanistan to sharpen its sword. Once you understand these things, you will then understand why the Taliban is picking up right where they left in 2001 and will rule that country just as they did before the US invasion. And another key takeaway at the end of this presentation is that American culture has been shown to be not universal. Not everyone wants it, not everyone agrees with it, and especially not everyone wants it forced upon them. Now, this might be a bitter pill for many to swallow, and I think that even with the fall of Kabul and the reinstallation of the Taliban as the rulers of Afghanistan, I think very, very few people will realize this very salient fact. Moreover, I really doubt the US will ever, going forward, begin to practice a kind of prime directive of non-interference, a concept from the Star Trek franchise. America will always interfere. Interference is what America does best. And it won't take long until the nation identifies a new country or region of evildoers that are trying to take America's freedoms away from it. And that country will then obviously need to be liberated from 30,000 feet. So in conclusion, to answer the veteran in the Seattle Times article, when he said, I mean, why did my friend get blown up? For what? Sadly, to answer that, and with respect, it was for empire and the maintenance of it. And as we witness the fall of Kabul, it's clear that America didn't want to win the war or the peace in Afghanistan, and is leaving because there's no reason to stay.